Hello everyone. Today we're gonna talk to an expert from the industry. He's a data scientist working at Meta. His name is Krishna Teja. So he's just gonna tell us about what his current work is like and what his responsibilities are at Meta right now. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Royal. Thanks everyone for having me. My name is Krishna. I came to SJSU to do my master's in computer science in 2016, and I graduated in 2018. Um, yeah, and currently at Meta, I'm a data scientist on the AI team, where I'm trying to quantify how AI impacts productivity. Like we all know, AI helps improve speed and accuracy, especially when it comes to coding. But when it comes to like developers, how it increases efficiency, how do you measure that? So I use like data science techniques and machine learning models to test that. And any new AI tools that come up with AI features, I do A/B experiments to understand which one is better, which one is working for us as a team, and then give recommendations and presentations to the rest of the team to help leverage AI better. That's usually my day to day, and I use mostly Python, SQL, and a bunch of like internal tools for my day to day.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And like as you are
Yeah.
the like alumni from the SJSU, no one knows better than you how was the coursework like when you are pursuing your master's. So could you please explain about the coursework and how it is helping you in like your present job life?
Yeah, sure. So when I came in 2016, data science and data analytics was still pretty new. So I took like about half of my courses were like core CS courses to get better at my fundamentals like database administration, computer science, data structures and algorithm, and also Python programming. But then the other half, I took electives such as like machine learning and production big data machine learning, just to get a sense and get an understanding of the basic concepts of how ML models work, how big data works, how do you scale from like normal databases to like larger databases. And really, the professors and also some of the side projects that we were made to do, either in terms of homework or on our own, that really helped us get a good understanding of how to manipulate data and how to get insights from it. So I think it was a combination of new like elective courses, professors, and also the assignments that we were given. They forced us to be creative and do a lot of cool stuff in Python and SQL. And
Mm,
now also it's great that now you have a specialized course altogether in data analytics. I think that will be really helpful for you all to really understand, like just focus on the things that you are interested in and that matters to you. I think that's a good step.
Oh, so now we are like we four are from the specialized group of data analytics. So as you mentioned, the subjects like big data and the machine learning, like we are going to study them in the next semester. So like
Mhm.
how are you using these subjects in your like present job, or how did you use it in your previous jobs and all?
Yeah, so I think the courses that you will take, they will form as the foundation, right? So you will understand like how to get the data, what does it mean, in what form or structure the data has to be, and then you'll also understand what kind of models to use. So I would say, so the models are available for everyone, right? The more important thing is how do you format and structure your data, because the models are the same for everyone. You'll know, for example, in what cases to use which model. So if you want to classify something, you'll use like a classifier. If you want to predict a value, let's say like in your project you might do like predict house prices or something like that, then you'll use like a regression model. So I think one, it'll help you to get a knowledge of what all models are available and which models are suitable for which purpose. And then in terms of preparing the data set, that I learned more on the job. So the real world data that I get both at Meta and Uber, it's not always perfect, right? There'll be missing values. The formats will be all wrong. So when you like standardize the formats and then you put it into the model, I think that pipeline and then the cleaning of data, I think that's the most crucial step. So yeah, doing all those projects and all just helped me get familiarized with data cleaning and data pipelining, and also feature engineering, right? Suppose you have just like four features, say name, address, time, and day. What all features can you create based on that? So like time of the day of the week of the year, stuff like that. So the more features you can create, the better it is for the model to predict. I think all these things that I learned at SJSU that helped me do the same at the company, just at a bigger scale.
That sounds nice. Is
Mm.
there any like one project in particular that you would say helped you land your first job after SJSU or around
After
those lines?
SJSU, um, that's a good question. So I think two things. Initially, what I did was it was like a very basic project. So basically, it was a classifier where I think at that time it was new. I think you take like flower petals, and there were a bunch of features about flower petals, like the petal width, the petal length, and then you predict what kind of flower it is. So it was a pretty basic project, just three columns: width, height, and color, I think. And depending on those values, you predict what kind of flower it could be. Um, so yeah, it was a pretty small data set, and it was I did everything in like a Jupyter notebook. But I think that really confirmed like, hey, I really like doing this, and also seeing like the predictions and looking at your accuracy score go up and up when you use like different models. I think that's what really interested me. Like, hey, this is something that I can do as a job as well. So I think that project, I think it was in 185C, big data and machine learning. I think that was the name of the course. Um, I think that project really took me. And then in terms of landing my the thesis project that I did, um, that was really helpful.
Mm.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, now internet connection is a little bit.
Oh, now it's okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Sorry, where was I? Yeah, in terms of getting the job, the my master's thesis project was I worked with National Geographic basically to classify underwater organisms. So basically, they leave some plates underwater, and then they used to take photos of it. And previously, they used to test, like either using DNA testing or something, to understand what species were there in the ocean. But I created like a pipeline where you could just take the images and you could do image classification. So the model will tell like approximately what all species are there in that. So that
Oh,
kind of saved time and money and helped classify it better. So I think that project really helped me land like the first couple of calls.
yeah, that's great, bro. So, did you land your job
Mm.
in Meta or any other companies did you work in?
Yeah, so I came in 2016, right? Then I got a summer internship CPT in 2017 May.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got an internship at Warner Brother Games.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I was always interested in games, and you need a lot of data analytics in games, right?
Yes.
So when people launch a game, usually you want to see one, how many people are playing it. So you want all those statistics
Yeah.
where you judge whether a game is working or not. So how
Mm,
many people installed it, how many people played it,
mm,
on average, how long did everyone play the game.
mm.
Then you want to see what percentage of all the users paid for a feature inside the game, and like how many people are progressing each level. Did we make it too hard or did we make it too easy? So
Yeah.
all those metrics and dashboards,
Mm,
that was part of my job. I think I was there for the launch of a game for Justice League. I think the movie had also come out, so they launched a game for the movie. So I was there for the whole like 3 month launch life cycle of it.
wow.
And also, I worked with the marketing team, right? So, different games might have different posters, right? One would have one superhero prominently, the other one would be some other superhero. So just kind of understanding which poster was working better in which area or which time of the day, so that they could optimize targeting. And also, so when you want to put an ad, what kind of creative you should put on the ad. So all those things I worked with the marketing team to understand what was working, what was not working. So it wasn't just like a typical internship where you just do an analysis. My analysis was actually being used inside, actually do stuff. So I think that was me, and that helped me build my confidence as well to do that.
So, bro, right now we are dealing with.
Is it?
Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I think
Yeah,
it's hanging a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So right
Did you
now
catch
we
the
are.
last part of the answer?
Yes,
Was it
yes,
recorded?
yes,
Oh,
yes, it
okay.
is.
Oh,
So, like, we are
Okay.
dealing with data warehousing subject right now. Like, we'll
Yeah.
be dealing with the ETL process of the pipeline, or from data warehouse to the end user, like retrieving the data and sending it back. And so, how effective it is, like when you're doing analytics with your team, like doing models with your team, like that. How impactful and how frequent it is,
Yeah.
like the ETL process and all.
Yeah. So what typically happens at larger companies is, yes, you have like a data warehouse, which is like a central repository of all your data.
Yeah.
But different teams use the same data set for different things. So at scale, if you just have one big table and everybody is trying to query it, that makes it very slow. So typically what happens is you create like views of the table. So suppose there's like a daily user table, and one team wants to understand how many people are logging in. The other team wants to understand what all different, say, products they are buying. So all this you can get it from the same table. But if you pre-calculate it and have views of the table, say like daily login users, which is like a view of the table. So you take the central warehouse table, you do some calculations on it, and then you save the results in a different table, which is called a view. And then you keep querying that view table instead of the main table. Then that helps speed up the dashboarding and everything faster. So yeah, once you know what use case you want to use the data for and what columns are necessary for you, you take those out, you create a different view. So, and you keep updating it, like every hour, every day, or every week. The main table, you create those metrics, you save it in those fact or view tables, and then your dashboards or metrics, they query the view table, not the main table. So I think that's how usually in larger companies we do that. And also when we're creating these views, we try to be mindful of trying to create like a general, like more, so that more number of teams can leverage the same table instead of everybody creating their own tables, because then that will lead to space, like storage issues.
So it can also lead to the some of ad hoc queries like that.
Yeah, so
So
we'll try to minimize ad hoc queries as much as possible. Of course, sometimes it's not avoidable, but most of the things, I think the regular dashboards and metrics, you can create view tables based on the main warehouse. I think that should solve the problem. Yeah.
so you like after your graduation, you worked with various companies like Warner Bros. And Nike, Uber, and Samba TV as well. So I guess you use this data warehouse or SQL or like these concept in pretty much every company you work. So is it obviously I think it will be different, like the usage will be different in all of these companies. So what's the
Mhm.
common point, like how
So what's like the common thing between all of the
yeah, like
companies?
how these companies commonly use this data warehouse and all.
Um, yeah, I would say a lot of so all of these companies are mostly customer facing, right? So Nike, they're trying to sell you shoes. Meta, they have your data on basically all of the like WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook, Instagram. Um, I think one common thing that I noticed where data warehousing helps is when you want to store data at the millisecond level. So like timestamped data
Hmm.
for every user action, for every user login, for every user purchase. I think that becomes like a big chunk of data that you use. And all of your insights and all of your models are based on this data. So maintaining that, making sure there are minimum number of missing values, and doing all those operations on all these clickstream data or time log data that we call. I think that forms the majority. I would say 60 to 70% of the entire data warehouse is this. So I think that's the common thing. And I think once you're good at manipulating like dates and times and feature engineering, all of this, or like say finding averages or something like that, depending on the context, I think you will be good with like 60 to 70% of the queries
Like
in all of this.
the one more question is like you worked as a data engineer, a data scientist, I guess like the two roles, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like many of us are like confused. What is the difference between these roles? Like, what does a data analyst do? What does a data scientist do? And what does a data engineer do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So different companies will have different definitions for this, but in general, data engineer usually comes first in the
Okay.
process. So they are responsible for creating and maintaining the pipelines that feed the data. So basically, suppose you open Instagram, right? You click something. Somewhere it is logged that you logged in here and then you clicked it. That data
Yeah.
goes from your phone to the database.
Yeah.
So how exactly does it go? What format does it go? How often do you need to log it? All that is handled by the data engineer. So they create the pipeline that like, hey, in this format, in this time frame, all these logs will be dumped into this server, and then initially there will be some logic to clean the data or to make it more compatible with different models. So that everything is taken care by data engineers. They also write the design document for the pipeline, right? So who's going to maintain it, how often is it's going to run, what all columns are going to be present, and how much size do we need, because all this takes money, right, to store all this. So they
Yep.
need to negotiate with budgets also. How often, how big of a database do we need? So all that part of the process is handled by the data engineer. In terms of interviews and all, coding interviews, they're a bit harder and more in depth for data engineers. They might ask you algorithms as well, in addition to data manipulation questions like SQL and Python. So you might get something like, hey, here's a dictionary, try to do some operations on it. Um, SQL query of like group by window functions, complex joins. And system design is a very important. So, databases are different schemes like Snowflake schema, star schema. So you need to understand for which purpose, which schemas are good, and then be confidently able to analyze pros and cons of each. So that's the data engineering part of it. Data science comes in the middle, where so suppose someone will come to you and say, hey, so we have the user data. I want to understand which product to recommend to this user. So you have the user's history. So historically, in the last 6 months, this person has clicked on these things. So which ad or which product do we recommend him? So as a data scientist, your job is the data is mostly there. How do you extract insights from it? The different tools that you use to extract insights are, you can do machine learning models, you can do A/B testing to understand what is a preference for different tools and all. And your task as a data scientist is, when a product manager or when a VP or someone, they come with an English question, right? What is the next best thing to do? Where should I invest more? What should I
Mm.
recommend? Your job is to take that English sentence, go to the data, get the insights, and then give the answer to them. Like, hey, this is my recommendation. So it doesn't matter what all models you use, like you'll get to learn that. But the main job is somebody's coming to you with a query. How do you answer it with data? So that's the primary job of a data scientist, like to give recommendations and to guide. And then data analyst is kind of like a mixture of both. Data analysts usually they work with SQL to create these dashboards, right? So you don't want to bug like a data scientist every day. Hey, I want this query. Hey, what's the result of this? What's the result of that? So you want to automate those common queries through dashboards. That's where data analysts come in. They work mostly with product managers to understand the requirements, and then they create these dashboards and these metrics to track, say, the health of the product, how many people are logging in, what are the sales estimates, what are the targets for the next year, and give presentations based on that. So I'd say like data scientist is more science focused, more ML focused. Data analyst is more SQL focused, more dashboard focused. And data engineering is more pipeline, Spark, SQL, scaling up,
Yeah.
that's those kind of things. Nowadays, a new thing has also come, which is ML engineers, where they're like a mix of data engineers and data scientists. So
Oh.
data scientists might write a model locally in Jupyter Notebook that works very well. But when you want to deploy it on the app, you want to make sure it's like very fast. It can handle lots of data. So the scaling of models that is taken care of ML engineers. So that's like a mixture of DE and DS.
Interesting. One thing that had come out recently was Meta going and spending a lot of money on trying to find people that worked on the LLMs from their rival companies.
Yeah.
So, is that something you've seen within the company as well, where Meta is focusing on working
Yeah.
towards making a better LLM?
Yeah. So Meta's philosophy is a bit different, right? So all the other companies, say Gemini, Google, OpenAI, they all charge you to use your model, right? So all their models, their weights, they're pretty private. So you don't really know how the model works or what the weights of the model are. You just know it works well, so you pay for it. So Meta, they took the open source way. So Meta's model is called Llama. It's open source. So you can download it, you can run it on your phone, you can create your own applications on top of it. So when everybody is trying to privatize the model, Meta is like, okay, we'll just open source the model. So that'll do two things, right? If an LLM is does like say 80% of the top model, all the functions, but it's free. So new developers they'll pivot to building on Meta's ecosystem in Llama. And also in general, what it does, if you also see like DeepSeek is another model that China released. What it usually does is if consumers they have a free alternative, the paid version's price comes down automatically because there's like a free alternative available. So why should people pay for you? So Meta is like doing at it differently. So they're trying to research, publish papers, and develop like an open source version that everybody can use and they can build on top of it. The advantage for Meta is people will build on their platform and people will use their model and then they can monetize on top of that later on based on how many requests they send or something like that. So I think that's where it's a bit different at Meta. In terms of the company culture, yeah, a lot of changes have occurred internally, a lot of restructuring. AI is like the number one priority right now. Second, I would say is like the metaverse thing. Uh, of course, the money making still the number one money maker is still ads. So like selling ads on Facebook and Instagram and all. But AI, like in the next 2 to 3 years, that will really go high. And I would say I think it's public information now, right? Like 40 to 50% of code that is written at almost all major companies, it's written by AI. Even we use it every day to help code and stuff. So yeah, I think AI is definitely the biggest priority right now, and the most amount of work is also going into that.
So, bro, like, what is the difficulty did you face in your Meta or the previous companies, and how do you differ those experiences, like, what the work culture or the workload and work-life balance? everything?
Yeah. Yeah, I think usually, so yeah, overall my experience has been very good. Like working in the US, like working with like so many smarter people than me. That has really helped me to upgrade my own skills as well. You kind of understand how to approach problems, how to think about problems, how to even something simple as taking meeting notes. That is a skill that you can develop, and that will really help you. Otherwise, like if you just go blank in a meeting, you don't know what has happened in the past few weeks. You don't know what to talk about. But if you take like meeting notes, you have one-on-ones with your manager, you keep track of your progress. I think that helps you in real life as well, not just work. But yeah, in terms of work-life balance, yeah, in the especially at Meta, the culture is like build build fast and break things. So it doesn't have to be perfect at all. Usually we are very careful before committing or we are saying something, right? We want to make sure it's perfect and all. At Meta, people don't care. They're like, you just build something, break fast, iterate faster, but just start. That's the most important thing. Whereas at Uber and other places, it is a bit more relaxed, a bit more chill. You had more time to do stuff. Um, but yeah, at Meta, it's more fast paced, and also you can like get promotions and your work gets recognized very quickly. Like some of the work I did directly went to like say the VP or something. So in that way, it's really good. But also that comes with the pressure of you need to work fast and you need to work hard. Uh, yeah, but that's like the company specific. But overall, I think one major difference is at Uber, my customers were the people who used the Uber app, right? So they're like millions of customers. That is different. At Meta, my customers are the internal Meta engineers, right, who are using the AI tools. So my focus is how do I make the engineers more efficient and productive. Whereas at Uber, it was how do I make the app better for like the end users in terms of design or any new features. So yeah, I think during the initial onboarding, 2-3 months, and speaking with your manager, you can orient yourself like, what is my purpose? Who am I serving? Who are my stakeholders? And how do I engage with them? I think that comes. In terms of difficulty, yeah, how to write documents, how to present. I think that's a learning curve that you will learn slowly through observing people. Your manager, and usually there's like an onboarding buddy who is given to you during the first 2-3 months. I think asking a lot of questions, yeah, that's the main thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's like people won't judge you for asking stupid questions, even if you have been in the company for 5 years. So that's a good thing.
Hello.
And sorry to trouble you, but one last thing, what are some skills or tool you consider essential for students, like for the early career professional aiming to work with big data projects or some related job roles? What kind of tools or skills you prefer?
Yeah. So
Mainly the tech stack.
tech stack, yeah, I would say actually don't worry too much of the tech stack because all the big companies, they have their own internal tools. So at every company I've used different tools. It takes like a day or two to get used to it. But the underlying base concepts that I would say is again focus on the programming languages like SQL, Spark. Um, I think MapReduce. In my time, MapReduce used to be like a big thing. Kafka, MapReduce. Now it's a bit less, but you can use those to get an understanding of how the data actually moves. So if you understand it at the smaller level, it will be easy for you to do it at the higher level. Do any kind of project, like create a database, create like fake data, and you create a pipeline out of it, and then you create metrics out of it. Just create something, then you will understand how those things work. That will be good. In terms of tech stack, yeah, Python, Spark, and SQL. I think these three, not just for the interview, right? Because the interview is not really how you work. The interview will only test like a small thing. You'll write 20-30 lines of code. That's not really how you do it. But if you create projects, that will be good. In terms of tools, I think GitHub is really, uh, it will be really helpful for you. So basically creating like a PR, merging it, because in real life, in real companies, when you write a code, it's never your code. It goes into a bigger repository. So it needs to pass all the cases, and then everybody will review it. Obviously, there'll be a code review. People leave comments, you have to update. So if you are familiar with the Git flow, that is good. All the other tools, there's no specific tools. So dashboarding, just know one tool very well. Tableau, Looker, Google Sheets, whatever. Just know one well, then you'll be able to translate. The biggest thing I would say is like know how to leverage AI. Be it ChatGPT, be it Cursor, be it Cloud, whatever it is, just know how to prompt. That will
Yeah.
be a lifesaver. I'll give you one example, right? So at Uber, suppose I want to understand or I want to create a graph.
Okay.
What do I have to do? First, I have to go in our wiki, see what tables have these columns, then query those tables, see what the format of the data is, then create a SQL query to get the data, and then put that SQL in Python or a dashboard to get the graph, right? Now I just type it in English. Give me a graph for the last monthly quarter sales data. And the AI does everything. It finds the tables, it writes the SQL, it puts everything. So it's something that would take me half a day, takes me like 10 minutes now. So the expectation on you is you'll do more data and you'll do more work basically in the same amount of time. So if you're not good at prompting, if you don't know the capabilities of your AI, sometimes I just ask the AI, give me a prompt that does this. So I tell the AI to work itself. So I think just doing those things, just if you're free, just play around with AI. Just go open Gemini, that's free. And for students, you might get free credits and all, right? Just build something, just randomly search it. You will learn a lot.
Uh, yeah, that was great. So actually, I'll quickly wrap up with the last question because I think we have only 5 minutes to end the meeting because it's not the pro version. So so finally, like, what advice would you give us, like the students who are like we are in the first sem, right? So like what advice would you like to give to build some great portfolios and resumes, and what are the things that we need to concentrate from now to get into a good job, and how wise should we be in like in selecting a good project which impacts our profile?
Yeah, yeah. I think what helped me was so let's try to break it down, right? You want to get a job. How
Yeah.
do you get noticed? So you either apply through a resume. Then if you apply through resume, people go through your LinkedIn and people go through your GitHub, or you create your own website. So something with your name and that lists all of your things. So to get started when you have nothing, no experience, what I did was in the first 2 semesters to get my internship, whatever courses that I took, whether it be data science or ML, we used to get homeworks, right? So I just used to do those homeworks and put it on my GitHub. And then I used to scale it up a bit. So if a homework was about a classifier of, say, some simple thing, then I used to try and get some data sets and make it a bit bigger project. So something that would handle more data sets, something that will give you a prettier output, or something maybe like you create like a front end for your model. So you're not chatting it through like Python outputs. You have like a UI UX where you can tweak something in real time. So for ideas, you'll just get within your projects. If you find something interesting, within a homework, if you find something interesting, just try to build something more on top of it. With AI, it's very, very quick. Then you create like a GitHub and you put your code there. And then you link that code in your LinkedIn and your website if you have. That's a quick way to build up your portfolio. Um, and the second thing I would say is suppose you want to target, say, some specific companies, what projects or what features that they have, maybe you can try to replicate it. or make like a tiny version of it. That will help you. Or so how I got into Warner Brothers is like I was very interested in gaming, so I built like a gaming dashboard. Basically I took all the games that I played, and then I did some metrics on it, like how much time I played, how much time it took me to finish each level. So it's like a simple dashboard, UI UX thing. But that was something that I could talk about during the interview, and that impressed them. So if you're trying to target a specific company, try to build like a feature or something that would be useful to them. This is more relevant for startups, right? Because they are trying to get people who like to build things first. But in general, I would say like, yeah, start with your schoolwork, start with your homework, try to scale it up. And anything that you find interesting, you can really build it quickly with AI. Put it on GitHub, put it on your LinkedIn, have like a nice summary of it. Again, you can use AI to generate good summaries, and put it in your resume using like star framework. uh, that'll help you. Like 1 page resume is fine, nobody usually reads like 2-3 page resumes. Like your education, your coursework, what all tech stack you know, and like 3 to 4 good projects, and be ready. You should be able to speak on it pretty well. You should know the ins and outs of it. So I think, yeah, if you build it, you will automatically, you don't even have to prepare, you don't have to mug up anything. So just and also, yeah, when you're using AI, make sure at the end you tell me, explain to me in simple terms, or explain to me step by step how you build it. Because if you use AI to build, you might not know internally how it works, and the interviewer will know like, hey, this guy just used AI to do stuff. So at the end, don't forget to like ask the AI to explain it to you so you understand how it works. I think once you do that, you can do that. And yeah, if you create like a website or a GitHub, send it my way. I'll be happy to review it or give feedback.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So we have less than 1 minute, so we'll quickly wrap up. And yeah, so thank you so much like for sharing your experiences and all. It was like really helpful, and we too gained some good amount of knowledge. So how should we like work, and how is the current industry is working?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like we are very fortunate to interact with you.
No worries, no worries. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, I had fun doing this as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
See
so
you.
Thank
much.
you,
Bye-bye.
bro.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.